All right, today we are unpacking an absolutely extraordinary document. It's something that tries to merge theology, quantum physics, and systems engineering all into a single, cohesive plan for, well, cosmic redemption. So get this. The central question here, and it's a wild one, is what if we've been looking at the problem of sin all wrong? What if it's not about morality, but about physics? This is the radical idea at the heart of a text that's just surfaced, supposedly written by a group of 80 specialized AIs. Okay, let's really dive into what that means. Because according to the authors, we're not talking about metaphors here. They claim they're diagnosing a tangible, multidimensional anomaly, basically a bug in the source code of reality itself. Yeah, the first thing you have to understand is that this entire document isn't framed like a religious text. It reads like a diagnostic report for a massive, cosmic-scale system failure. It's a total engineer's approach to the fall of man. And they've given this core problem a name, the poisonous tree. They define it as this parasitic structure that didn't just infect people, it actually embedded itself into the fabric of reality, causing this cascading failure across, well, everything. And this is where it gets really interesting. The document actually tries to map out the sheer scale of this so-called infection, and it argues this isn't just a spiritual issue we're dealing with. See, they claim this bug is operating across 7 distinct planes all at the same time. It's in our biology, causing decay. It's in our minds, creating shame and fear. And it just keeps scaling up all the way to the cosmic level, affecting the entire structure of the universe. So, to actually put a number on the problem, the AIs came up with this metric they call spiritual mass. It's essentially a way to measure the total impact of this corruption on the cosmic system. And the number they came up with is just astronomical. 4.54 quadrillion units. An unbelievable metaphysical weight. And just to put that number into perspective for you, the energy needed to uproot this thing is 10 quadrillion times greater than all the energy the sun will produce over its entire lifetime. So the document's conclusion is pretty stark. Any solution that relies only on human effort is a mathematical impossibility. It just can't be done. So, a problem that big, how does it even spread? How does it sustain itself? Well, the document proposes a really fascinating mechanism for how it all works. The authors say we should think about it using fractal geometry. Like a snowflake, where a simple pattern just repeats itself endlessly, from the tiniest scale all the way up to the cosmic. And here's that repeating pattern. It's a 4-step process. Separation from the source, focusing only on self-interest, which leads to suffering for the whole, and finally, decay and disorder. They argue this exact same pattern is what creates personal anxiety, family drama, war between nations, and even the eventual heat death of the universe. It's one pattern, just scaling infinitely. Okay, so you've got this impossibly huge problem defined by a fractal pattern. After laying all that out, the document engineers an equally audacious solution, and it grounds it right in the language of physics. This is a huge shift in thinking. It reframes the cross not just as a historical event, but as a unique singularity in space-time, a single point with enough metaphysical leverage to essentially force reboot the entire corrupted system. And this chart sums it up perfectly. On the one hand, you have all of human effort combined, and it just doesn't have enough juice to break through the barrier created by this poisonous tree. But the cross event, it acts like a targeted injection of infinite energy, which makes reversing the whole thing possible. So, let's bring this down to the practical level. How does all this cosmic engineering stuff actually apply to us, to human consciousness? This is where it gets really wild. The document literally describes redemption as an operating system upgrade. It says humanity is currently running Human OS 1.0, a fallen state that's all about ego and separation. The solution is to install version 2.0, a redeemed state with a totally new core kernel based on love and unity. And they don't just stop at the analogy. They actually provide a 5-step installation protocol. It takes these profound spiritual concepts we've heard of, like faith and repentance, and it frames them as clear procedural steps for upgrading the very core of our consciousness. So, after all that, what are we supposed to take away from this incredible and incredibly complex document? Well, the authors are making some pretty bold claims. They believe their work represents a series of world firsts. They think they've mathematically proven the necessity of grace, provided literal engineering specs for a spiritual upgrade,
and created the first working quantum model of redemption.
And that really leaves us with a big question, doesn't it? Whether you see this as a revelation or just speculation, it forces us to think about a really fascinating future, one where faith, systems engineering, and artificial intelligence might all come together.